Welcome to the Good Good podcast. I'm your host, Dee Talley, mama, licensed acupuncturist, herbalist, and embodiment coach. Here we dive deep into the realms of energy, consciousness, awareness, empowerment, and personal transformation to help you create a more vibrant and juicy life. Hey everyone, and welcome to the Good Good podcast. This is your host, Dee Talley. I am so excited today. What are you giggling about? Okay, today I have on my twin sister.
Hello.
Morgan Dupell. Yay. So this is the ultimate Riff, the Sisterhood.
Picture in picture. If you think you're seeing double, you are.
Except not, because we don't really look alike.
Barely sisters.
Sisters on the same day.
Yeah. We were born 6 minutes apart, so here we are.
I almost wanted to call this like the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, but I just thought...
We don't wear the same pants. And we don't wear the same pants because yours have like the yin and yang symbol on them and mine are like mom jeans I got on clearance. Let's be serious.
So I'm a little scared because we're riffing, I have a little bit prepared, but not really.
That's fine.
But like anything could happen.
Pretty much anything. Yeah, before she hit the record button, I was just saying I looked up the definition of the good on the Urban Dictionary on the way over. I don't know if you've ever done that.
No, tell us.
I'm not going to tell you, but go knock yourself out.
No, tell us.
I don't want to. But I think you should look it up.
Right now?
Yeah, go ahead. Maybe we don't even say it. We let the viewers look it up.
Oh my God.
You didn't do that before.
No.
Okay. Maybe you just let them do it themselves. Surprise. Hit pause. Come back to us. Hit pause.
Wow.
Yeah, good.
You know what? This doesn't even like faze me or upset me.
That's great. It shouldn't.
Because I feel like the Good Good podcast is about bringing people together.
That certainly will.
And like community, and it encompasses like your senses, right? Your sense felt experience, healing, wellness, all the things. Okay, so this brings me to my first question.
Okay.
What is your good? Not the urban not the Urban Dictionary version question.
I haven't really thought about it. I don't.
Well, think about
what's
it.
Good times two.
No. See, this would, if you listen to the podcast.
I'm literal.
No, listen. If you listen,
did
you listen to you listened to the first episode, right?
I listened to episode 1.
Okay, so then you have an understanding of what the good is. The good is the sense felt shit that you can't buy on Amazon. Like, what is the shit that lights you up? Bear fat.
There is bear fat on my face right now. Legitimately, like, it's so super moisturizing. Anyway, the things that I look forward to that make me happy, I like having a latte on the couch. I like my neck massager, although it broke yesterday. The cloth ripped, and I had my hair down while I was running it, and the thing spins, and all of a sudden I started screaming. And my significant other, I was like, help me. And
he doesn't know what the heck you're talking about.
He came over, and I was like trying to turn it off, and I have very long hair right now, and it just wound my hair into the massager. It was like the videos you watch of people like trying to make cookies with the mixer, and they're like, let me look at the bowl, and then it gets them, you know? So it had got me, and he came over,
Owie.
and he tried to help, and it was...
Did you lose hair?
A little bit. He was like, let me get the scissors. And I was like, no. But it was like 6 pieces of hair. So I was a little dramatic. I can be dramatic. And we got it undone. But now he had to order me a new one for Valentine's Day. Because it's a requirement for my neck and shoulder.
Yeah.
I'm probably doing it right now. Sit back.
So your good is sitting on the couch with your neck massager on, drinking your latte.
Yes.
Blanket on your lap.
Heated blanket.
I mean,
it's just like such a peaceful way for me to start the day. And I know some people are like, cold plunge. You know, like they do the breathing.
I don't like the cold plunge.
Or they like, whatever wakes somebody up in the morning. I just like a slow moving start. And also like seeing you is great. And having time with my nieces and my family. That is also a lot of joy. Our brother was just here. That was really joyful. Mm-hmm. That stuff's good. What about you, Dee? What's the good?
Oh, you know,
just flip the script on her.
I'm kind of into it. So I feel like the good for me is like I get a lot out of this podcast, and like it lights me up. Like I smile for the rest of the day, and I'm just
great.
like, something about it makes me feel like I can anchor into the present moment. Because like as I'm talking to you, I'm like with you. You know what I'm saying? I feel like life is so far on fast forward.
Yeah.
And my good also, and this probably is true for a lot of people, is like I've been really in touch with my rest part of myself. And I don't think I truly allow myself to rest. So like the historical pattern is like I push so hard and then my body puts me on empty. Like for example, this past Christmas season where I got pneumonia and an ear infection at the same time and was so fudged up and trying to just keep going and going and going. It's like I had this moment of like, it was right around when Casey was here.
Yeah, and you were like hosting with the
Hosting everything.
She was going crazy and trying to make it spectacular for everyone. I think there was a moment on Christmas Day where I'm like, "Are you okay?" And she just wasn't into it. And I can see it.
Yeah.
But I'm also not a big Christmas person either. Like it just feels like a lot of pressure.
I like doing some of the Christmas stuff, but
the cousin night was great.
Yeah,
that was amazing.
But the problem is all the hosting duties from Stella's birthday all the way through Christmas, and we even contemplated a New Year's party this year, which I'm like, no. It was like a mountain that I climbed, and then my body was like, yeah, okay, haha.
And I think you love hosting, but maybe it was too much this year. Maybe like you got to back down on one of the holidays for next year.
Well, I think if there was a delicate balance of rest with that, maybe it would feel less terrible.
I'm a bad rester as well. I'll go so hard that I just can't.
We work harder than anyone I know. That's part of the undoing of like my own personal journey in therapy.
I think I have been called relentless, and I think in the context of that, it was supposed to be a negative. Like, you are relentless.
And you're like, thank you.
I'm like, yeah, I am relentless. And it can be a really good thing, but it can also be a bad thing. Like, I'll be like, oh, I'm going to go do yard work instead of 30 minutes. I'm like 5.5 hours later. I can't walk.
You didn't stop for a rest. You didn't stop to drink a water.
Yeah.
Like,
even in the middle, my body's like, hey. And I'm like, no, we're going to finish this.
Yeah.
So
I think that's part of actually the draw that I had to embodiment. Because I feel like when you're pushing in that way, you can override your body really easy. At least I can. We can.
I think that it can be a really positive thing when you're working long hours and you have a demanding job to push through. And I think there's a lot of like societal reward for like mental toughness, if you will. And sometimes that's not a good thing. Like, I've used 2 sick days in 7 years, and one was for a funeral and one because I made it to work and I got sent home. So, you know, maybe there were times where I should have taken sick time.
But also, I feel like in the past, I would have viewed that as like a badge of honor.
Sure. Yeah.
Where you're like, yeah, look at me. I don't take sick days. I'm, you know, I'm a robot.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to balance the work ethic with resting. So I guess if you had asked me years ago, I wouldn't have said sitting on the couch was like the good for me.
What would it have been?
I don't know, hiking up a mountain as fast as I could until I fell down, you know, at the top. Like, it just, so I think, and a lot of
the no prize.
The no prize.
The accolades of.
Sure. Achievement,
yeah.
And I think a large credit to my significant other for slowing me down, because a lot of his joy in life is relaxation. And, you know, sometimes we like a show that we watch, and he has kind of really encourage me. Not that we don't do other things. Like, we just went on a really fun trip for a few days. We'll get out on the boat and we'll do fun stuff. But he has really tried to slow me down and appreciate the rest of life. Yeah. And I think that's a really nice balance. Yeah. So I appreciate that.
A lot of his stuff too is in nature. So like he's a big fisher and hunter, and like, I don't know, isn't it like you're sitting in the woods looking around for animals? Like, is that stressful?
I think it can be. He goes really hard and for certain hunting seasons, And I think, again, that's a testament to his willpower and his drive. But sometimes it's like, hey, like, are you enjoying this?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And sitting with nature and watching animals in nature is one of his, like, favorite things. So I joke with him, if hunting season didn't go well, I'm like, you know, you're a wildlife photographer at this point.
Yeah.
Which is said lovingly, because he has opportunities to kill animals and he's choosing to let them get bigger for next year, or
So we can kill them.
well, so he can let them have a full, fulfilling life. He doesn't take animals' lives with any type of, like, it's a serious thing. You know, he has a connection to the land. He's just not killing stuff to kill it. Like, it's food for us. It's meaningful. It's a powerful experience. So, you know, he doesn't kill the little deer. He goes for the ones that have had a full life.
Oh my God. I was just thinking while you were talking about the time you went with him and you scrubbed yourself down with that soap. Wait. Okay. There's a soap that you use when you're hunting.
Scent-free soap.
Scent-free soap, which means that it wipes your scent, your like bacteria on your skin. Correct?
I don't know if it's a bacteria thing, but it's scent-free soap, and he's so serious. He's so serious about the hunting, which I can appreciate. I'm very serious about things too, but there's a whole process. So I was like, oh, I thought I was going to go hunting, and it's like, did you wash yourself with scent-free soap? And I was like, no. And then, you know, I do the whole thing. I do the cleansing process. My clothes hadn't been washed and scent-free, so even that was like kind of a no-no. And then he gives me a sniff, and he says, you smell like perfume. And I said, I did the scent free, I did the this and that, and I said, do you not want me to go? And he's like, no, come on. So we saw some deer, but it was a very serious thing for him, and I can appreciate the ritual aspect of it. I can appreciate the drive. We just didn't grow up in a hunting house. So there's been a huge transformation in like understanding that culture and what it means. So he slowed me down. Is the long and the short of that. He slowed me down.
Yeah, I think that the tendency to push really hard is a gift in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Where, you know, it's not like I want to remove that part. It's just as if I'd like to just reduce the volume. Do you feel that way?
Yeah. And you said to me at one point, I don't know what I was doing. You said you can push through all of your basic needs being met to work hard. And I was like, oh, thanks. Like, I thought it was a compliment.
Yeah.
I think it's hardwired. I don't know. It's like work till you drop. I'm not sure if that was something that was like historically part of our family.
Yeah. The story was that you have to suffer to achieve.
Well, and I think that society kind of forgets to tell you the other half of achievement, which is if you keep achieving and you keep working, eventually you take on work of others. And then it becomes how much work can you do and how much achievement is possible, you know?
Yeah,
That's
and like a badge of honor. Like, look at me, I do 3 people's work.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah, and I see that as a positive, like the work ethic, but you're right, like it has to be adjusted. And as I get older, I just don't have it in me to do as much as I used to.
I want to talk a little bit about the differences between the two of us. I feel like when I say like, oh yeah, my twin sister, and they're like, oh,
There's 2 of you?
yeah. And it's like, well,
No.
we're actually very, very different, but similar in a lot of ways, which I think is fascinating because like, think of just work, like your work, you're a public servant, you help people in a really different way from the way that I help people.
Yeah, I think that
and like personality wise differences.
Yeah, so we used to kind of say that you were the light and I was the dark, and it was like you were very positive and I was very negative, and I see it as realism and being realistic, and I guess maybe if your expectations are lower, you're less likely to be disappointed, and so we kind of had that. We even went as yin and yang for Halloween once.
Yeah, we did.
And then it was a 2-part costume. We were the twinning emoji as well.
Yeah.
The most twins we've ever looked like. So I think that we are a really great compliment, and years and years ago I didn't see it like that. It was like you were my arch enemy for I don't know the first 15-20 years of my life, and so we never really embraced each other's like differences and our own special gifts. It was a competition, and I feel like there was a lot of jealousy, but I would say that we're different in really like beautiful ways. Like you work a lot very closely with people. Part of your job is like touching people and healing them. And I wouldn't want to do that. I wouldn't feel comfortable in that space. And you do it so beautifully.
Thanks.
And And I have a very different way of serving people. And I also don't think that you would like.
No.
You don't have to react so hard.
No, I
She's
wouldn't.
Like, no.
Just because of everything. I just think like it's just intensity. Like it's a level of intensity that I don't think I would be cut out for.
And that's okay. I think it's not for everyone. Like that's why you find your niche and your spot. But yeah, I mean, what else is different? Like our favorite colors are different. Our eye color's different. Like
Yeah, like I think that our brains work different in a lot of ways. And like the thing is, growing up, when you said there was a lot of jealousy, for on my end, what I've realized through years and years of therapy is that I felt like the dumb sister.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Because I felt like you historically would gravitate more towards adults. And like,
Yeah.
we would be at family gatherings and you'd be like with the adults and then you wouldn't really come with so I almost felt like she's too good for this.
Oh.
And you're the smartest person I know.
Oh my God. Let's look in the mirror.
No,
You
I'm
are
not
the
just,
smartest person
no,
I
I'm not.
know.
No, because I also always had to work really hard to get the grades.
Yeah, but you're like, Chinese. Like I don't.
No, I don't.
Kind of.
But I always felt like you and Casey were like above me.
Oh.
Where it was like I had to work so hard and I still felt like the dumb sister.
Oh my gosh, I would never have
I know you
said
wouldn't have known that.
I would have never. I always felt jealous of your social skills because I always felt like awkward, outcast. Like I always like didn't really understand how socializing worked.
Yeah.
I was pretty bad at it for a long time. I still say dumb stuff and I get just the other day there was a group conversation and I said something someone was talking about when they wake up. And they said for work, they wake up at 4:30. And then for not work, they wake up at 6. And I said, on purpose? And everybody laughed. And it wasn't a joke.
Yeah.
I was like, literally, like, you do that on purpose. So, even in social situations, it's just like, I don't get it. And I'm really dumb with that stuff. And you are flawless. Like, socializing, social butterfly. I think that was your, like, high school, like, superlative. Was, like, social butterfly.
Class flirt.
I mean, when you know, spot on. I was teacher's pet. Shock. I know we're like,
Yeah,
take
but
a minute.
you were jealous of my
Pause.
social skills, but I was jealous of your brain power.
Your
I
brain
thought
is just
that,
as big.
but here's the thing: it's in different ways.
Sure.
And I almost felt like the ways in which my brain worked better weren't necessarily celebrated in the same way.
I guess maybe that's familial, maybe that's societal, but gosh, I would have traded some of that reading of books and memorizing of information to understand how to like go to a middle school dance without feeling like a loser. I would have traded that.
Right.
And I think it's that old analogy. Like if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a ladder, it'll think is that it? I don't know. Whatever this, like you can't judge that particular skill and be like, all right, well, I guess she's just dumb.
Well,
like,
I think in being raised with high competition,
high achievement,
it's like good grades, athletically awesome, clubs and extra organizations and stuff. And it's almost like the differences aren't necessarily celebrated. It's not celebrated in the same way.
But I think also, like, if you look back through our family, I think that our parents wanted us to be successful.
Right.
And the benchmark for success was those things you just mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like when like mom and dad are going through it, they're doing the absolute best they can to produce children that contribute to society.
Totally.
And they did the best they possibly could.
Yes.
So it may have caused a couple of issues with drive and work ethic. Gosh, they did the very best they could and they worked super hard and they gave us a better life than they had with their families. So
right.
As much as I would say, gosh, it would have been cool if our folks would have been like, yeah, if you want to buy groceries, if it makes you happy, do it.
Yeah.
Do what makes you happy.
Right.
If that would have been the sentiment, that would have been cool. But I think they were just doing the very best they could to create successful children.
Yeah. You know what I was thinking? I heard somewhere people only meet others as far as they've met themselves. They
What does that mean?
they worked really, really hard to get to where they were.
Sure.
So like that's where they met us. They imposed upon us how hard we should work.
But I think the hard work for them paid off.
Right.
They dug themselves out of, maybe a different life and gave us a better life. And they gave us the tools they used.
Totally. That's what I mean
But we could have used different tools.
Yeah.
And now as adults, all of us choose to have a relationship with our parents, which I think is a benchmark for successfully raising children. I don't have children, but if you want to have a relationship with your parents, I think that means you did a good job, right? Like, I want to see my mom and dad. I want to spend time with them. And so I think that they did the very best they could to, like I said, raise successful children. Yeah. However, there's some like leftover stuff that will probably either be there forever or take a really long time to sort of sort through.
The way that I view it is it's not like it goes away, but I think that your awareness of it grows. You can see it coming. So just what we're talking about how like the patterns of going so hard that I'm like crashing. Yeah. Like I can see that. And it's like when you have awareness, you have choice. So I feel like the choices are different when you can see it coming.
Yeah, but you still did it.
I still did it. And I think that, it takes time
to undo.
And nobody gets out unscathed from childhood. Sure. But I also think that like these years now from about age like 20, when we actually like started liking each other.
Yeah, so when
has been healing in a lot of ways.
I went to grad school in Wisconsin, and it was like a real crazy. I didn't even go to the town. I just got into the school. It was a great program, and I just said, I'm moving there.
And it was nuts how like you got it, so it was like all paid for, and you got a salary, and you were like,
it wasn't all paid for. It was like they waived out of state tuition.
But you were like killing it in terms of like it wasn't costing you.
I didn't have to take out loans. So
but it cost you.
But it did. I mean, it was hard because I had to go somewhere I'd never been before. I didn't even look at I had like pictures of the apartment online. And I was like, okay, very, very scary. Like to just pick up mom and dad drove with me. And then they left like 4 days later. And I'm sitting alone in this apartment and struggling. And they were like, why don't we send your sister out? And at that point, we're like, what are we going to like? We don't really like... and they're like, we'll pay for it. We're like, deal. So they bought Danielle a ticket, and she flew from Buffalo. Oh my gosh, this story is really funny. She flew from Buffalo into the local airport. I went and got her in my 1999 Buick Century. It's very much the front seat looked a lot like this
Granny
couch.
Car.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I
loved
that
car.
Yeah. I didn't realize that at the time that there was kind of some stigma about the car, but I love the car. It was a great car. So I went and picked up Danielle and driving my couch there, and we went back to my apartment, and it was like the first time we really like hung out as adults alone. And I was like, let's go for a bike ride. It's like,
I love how you think this is a funny story.
It's hilarious.
And I still am just like,
you're still mad about it. So I was like, let's go for a bike ride. There was this beautiful trail called the Green Circle that was around the town I lived in, and it was like a 30-mile trail. And because I was lonely, I didn't have any friends, I just biked. I was just like, you know what I'm going to do? Turn emotional pain into physical pain.
Exactly. I was just going to say, that's what you do.
That's what I do. When I have like a lot of emotional pain, it's just, let's just start, like I start hiking and running and like, let me just feel the physical pain instead. And like, I don't recommend that as a coping mechanism, but that's how I do it. So I was like, let's bike. And Danielle was there, so I wasn't as lonely. And I was like, let's go. So we get on a bike. I had like borrowed a bike from like a neighbor that I just met to like get her out on a bike. And she's exhausted. She was up at like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning to get on this flight. And she's like, how much longer? How much further? And I was like, just like another mile. And it was not.
She said another mile.
Probably 10 times. Probably 10 miles. And Danielle,
I was so
I think at
pissed.
one point she got off the bike and threw it to the ground and was like, we're done biking. And I was like, okay, fine.
I remember at one point, I was so pissed. I started biking as fast and as hard as I could, and I left you in the dust.
She didn't know where she was going.
I was so pissed.
So once we got through the bike debacle, it was good. We went on a trip to the Wisconsin Dells to try to look for coach purses. We went to
the Mall of America.
No, but the coach purses, we got lost. Remember, we tried to, the GPS turned us into a cornfield?
Yeah.
And we were like so lost.
Yeah.
We did, I don't think, was that the trip we went to Mall of America?
Yeah.
That same week?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
So we did that. I thought you'd come out a different time for that. But yeah, we went to the Mall of America. It was cool. It was really cool.
Yeah.
I think that I didn't appreciate like that experience as much as I would like today. If you were like, hey, we get to go and spend 6 days and do whatever we want, I'd be like,
we should. We should do that sometime.
I mean, it's harder. You kids.
I know, but still, they're going to get older and then I'll have a little bit more free time. But no, we had so much fun.
Yeah, but from that trip, from that bonding, we had connected so well there that we were like, all right, now we're like best friends. Or like, at least for me, it was like, oh, now I felt like the day, like when that trip happened, right after I was like, oh, I have a sister. You know what I mean? Like, not that you didn't exist before that, but
I didn't exist before that.
I mean, there were times where we were really mean to each other. Yeah. And so that was like a huge turning point in our relationship. And we just have been connecting ever since.
Sometimes I think it's sad that it took that long.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? 20
it's like
years.
Wasted time.
Yeah, but we can both look back and see it as for what it is now. But I think when you're in it, you don't really understand like how fleeting time can be and how nice it would have been to have like a buddy in those years.
Yeah, but I think there was a lot of misunderstanding. Like I didn't understand like social connection. I just would flee to the library.
Yeah.
And then read a book because the books aren't going to be mean to me. You know what I mean? So I think a lot of that was just misunderstanding, whereas you want to go hang out with your friends and maybe, you know, do some normal teenage stuff. And I don't have any desire.
And so what would happen is, though, I would ask you to come. Like, I wanted you to come, and I never understood why you didn't come.
It just wasn't fun. It's still not.
I know, but I didn't understand at that age. I was like, well, she doesn't want anything to do with me. Like, she doesn't.
It was the activities, right? It's like all of that sort of like teenage youth stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't want to participate in any of that.
Right, but I think there were times where you were like, she doesn't want me here, and it was the opposite.
I guess I never really thought of it like that. But
because I thought you were like too good to be there.
I think it was more of being uncomfortable.
No, but I didn't know that. I couldn't understand that at the age. That's what I'm saying. To me, as a 13, 14, 15 plus year old, I was like, oh, my sister doesn't really want to be here. She's too good to be here.
And I think it's like, it made me so uncomfortable to be in this situation that the only way to kind of like preserve myself was to be alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that comes with being a teenager, right? Like, your brain's still growing and developing, and you don't understand complicated emotions.
Totally.
You're just like, I hope a boy wants to hold my hand at some point, you know?
Yep.
And I think that like yearning for connection, it was a big factor back then, and not really understanding how to connect.
Without it being so uncomfortable.
And I still really struggle with that sometimes. Like, I don't want to be touched. I don't want, I just want to have the bubble.
We've had these conversations about neurodivergent and neurotypical and like autism.
Yeah, so I don't have a diagnosis, but I would say that there are a lot of like different signs and symptoms that I have that divergent tendencies. Like, I could be very noise sensitive and light sensitive, not understanding social cues. Sometimes I just am uncomfortable in my own skin. I don't want anyone to touch me. And none of that's a bad thing necessarily, but when you look at all of it together, you're like, oh, there might be something there. And I think if, I could carry a business card that says, this is not you, this is me stuff, and just hand it to people, they might have a little more understanding.
Well, I think when you say it like that, what the card actually means is like there might be some type of accommodation in terms of like understanding. Like, what do you want me to understand about you when you hand me that card?
Like, I'm very direct, but it's never meant to be offensive.
Totally.
I have like this very deep empathy that lives in me. I don't ever want to hurt anyone's feelings. I never want to make anyone feel bad. But sometimes the directness and the literalness
is uncomfortable.
Comes across as being like mean and nasty and being a bee.
Right, yeah.
Even my significant other thought when he first met me that was just, I'm just like kind of a jerk.
Right.
And in us building a friendship and him getting to know me, he's like,
it's misunderstood.
Right, which is the purpose of the card, which he actually suggested. I thought it was hysterical. I made a joke about it that I'd hand people the card and they'd be like, hi. Hi. Like they would just have soften.
You know what? Soften. But I don't like that.
Really?
Yeah, because
He
I don't
meant it
think
in,
it's,
like, a
I know, but
joking,
I don't
nice
think
way.
it's funny. Like, I don't think it's funny because I think it's just like when you hand over the card, it's like people do that for disabilities, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's a disability.
I think that it might just require a conversation in other people, like, here's what I want you to know about me.
Yeah, I don't think he meant it in a way of like, if you could immediately snap your fingers and create this understanding, that I would be able to function much more fluently in the world. I think that's what he meant.
Yeah.
It's like not handing someone a card saying I have an issue, handing a card and saying this is how you understand me.
Right.
And I don't think he meant it in any
No,
negative way.
I don't think so either.
He just meant it like, if the world were to understand who you are right from the rip, they couldn't not love you.
Right.
Like, I feel like that's where because
Yeah.
he's a big fan. He's a big supporter. He's tremendously kind and loving and caring, and he's a great support partner that I have. So I think he meant that in like if
Yeah.
the world understood you. So
I think I'm just protective of you in the way that, like, I don't know. I just
it
think,
took me a long time to say there's nothing wrong with me.
yeah. That's what I mean. When
This
you
is-
hand, like,
yeah.
something about handing the card means, like, to me is like, I need accommodation, which is
No,
not
that's
negative.
not.
It's not negative.
Yeah.
It just means that, like, you want other people to know something different about you.
Yeah, I think that there was a lot of years where I thought there was something wrong with me, and I thought abnormal and different, and I just thought, this is me, I have an issue, and I don't feel like that anymore. And
Yeah.
I think that comes with like growth and maturity. Like, there is nothing wrong with, how I am. It's
So
just
if you
different.
could sum it up in one sentence, what is it that you want them to know about you? So, like, you hand the card, but what are you actually saying?
Give me a chance, like,
Oh,
like,
ooh,
just like give me an
That
opportunity,
hits.
right? Like, just you don't have to.
no, I'm just like, oh, gosh. Because you don't feel like you have a chance without the card.
It depends on the person. It depends on how broad their spectrum is,
Yeah.
There's a lot of quick to judge.
Yeah.
So I think if you're just like, hey, just give me a shot. Just give me like a little bit of time to prove that I'm a good person, that I'm kind, that I'm all these things. Like that's I think. And I think literally everyone in society could benefit from giving each other a card and being like, hey, just like give me a chance.
Yeah.
Like just give me a chance.
Yeah.
That's all. So I think that there is some, again, not diagnosed. I haven't been to a professional to say it, but I think that I have some tendencies to be not a neurotypical person. And I think that can connect back to this drive to work so hard that I drop because I get really focused on whatever it is I'm doing. And so some of it's good and some of it's...
And it's like results, right?
Yes.
It's like results. So it can be like jarring or like intense.
There's a lot of pressure,
Totally.
I think, to perform.
Self-imposed pressure that
Sure.
you notice now.
Yeah.
So you've had some trauma in your life.
Just like everyone.
Just like everyone, but just like childhood trauma, relational trauma, work trauma, secondary trauma to other traumas.
I got a bucket that's like I dump it out every once in a while, but it's definitely full.
What do you think are some of the ways that trauma manifests in your system?
I don't know. I've never really stopped and thought about it and said what, like really looked at the effect of it. I think it's important to, like, as you're going through it, not just pushing it down and ignoring it. Like, you really need to work through it as it's
You think
happening.
you did that?
For years. Yeah, absolutely. The relationship stuff especially. I put it in a little box, shoved it down as deep as it would go, stuck it on a shelf, and didn't think about it for, 5 or 6 years. And guess what? It didn't just magically go away.
Oh, no?
It didn't.
Dang.
Yeah, it was still there. 6 years later, he opened the box and it was like, surprise, here I am.
It's like, feel like I'm viewing it as like a Jack in the Box where it's like,
It's funny now, but yeah, no, I went through some really significant transitional periods of my life, and there was some relationship stuff. And for those of you who are listening or watching who know what all of that is, there's really no need to get into the details of it. Just that it was a very difficult time that I pushed through, pushed down, ignored. Mm-hmm. And then it got to a point where I just couldn't do that anymore. And it's okay to reach out for help and like look for a good therapist or look for a good counselor, like talking about all of that stuff and finding a way to process it, like reprocess the old stuff and then process the new stuff as it comes in. Because I know you touched on being a first responder. I think you mentioned that already. Those types of things, like first responders see so much more trauma than the average person. And I think there's this ideal that if you're mentally tough, you don't need to deal with any of it. You just go to the next thing. I think that you need to be able to process it as it happens. Yeah. And then to be able to help other people who are brand new to it process it as it happens. Like if you have somebody that you're watching, that this is the first time they've gone to something really difficult, how do I help you get through it? Especially when they say things like, this is my first time that I've been at something so hard. And you go, okay, well, what can we do to make sure that you feel supported and that you're okay? Because the tendency, I think, is to say, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Well, yeah, because it's a mental tool to override the discomfort to be able to do your job.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing, but also there's a cost on the other side.
I think there's a time and a place. So you have to get through whatever it is you're dealing with, like get through that situation. And then afterwards, when you are alone or with a confidant or somebody you trust, process it at that time to make sure that you are ready for the next one, because there will always be a next one. And you have to take care of yourself so that you can get to the next one and get through it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I think that it's really hard to process trauma in real time.
It can be.
It can, but there are tools in which you can do that.
So there were a couple of things that I've experienced in my work life where it was almost like, I think the therapy could help explain this better. I'm not an expert at it, but it was almost like while it was happening, I was reprocessing my own trauma by helping somebody through theirs.
Totally, yeah.
So like I have the tools now to help this person, this regular, person that's going through this horrible day. I can help them get through it. And in the same time, that's what I wish I had had.
Right.
When I was having horrible days.
Yeah, like it can be a really, like, intense trauma can be a really healing experience for us.
Yeah. At times. And other times it can be just terrible.
Yeah.
And something you have to make sure that you're managing so that you can have a successful career, so that you can work as long as you want to without having any, like, significant mental health issues. Because I think first responders, the statistics are not going to lie, right? There's a lot of mental health issues. And if you just push it down, like, it's not going away. It's going to be there still.
How do you think that my trauma of being raped and abused impacted you? And how do you think you then relate it to your own work life?
I think about how can I help people that are going through difficult times get through it? And I guess I really haven't like taken your experience and been like, and like had it sort of living in me while I was helping them.
I don't think that's true, because you've told me of times where you like have a better understanding of how to be in those situations.
Yeah, but
how
it's
to,
not like
what
active.
To say,
it's
how
not
to
active in my mind. Like I'm not thinking about Danielle. I don't think I had the best response when you told me. This was before we were close, before we were friends. Like I didn't react well to it. I wasn't like I didn't provide the support that I wish I had provided to you. And so I think that goes back to reprocessing. If I am dealing with or in a situation where I can support somebody, counsel them, walk them through it, show empathy, then, that's my chance to provide better support that I didn't necessarily provide to you. So that's definitely top of mind. But I also have deep-rooted empathy that just kind of oozes out sometimes. It's just like right on the surface. Like I feel so deeply for people and you wouldn't know it.
Yeah.
But it's like I have had some really gut-wrenching moments where my heart breaks in half for somebody else, but I'm standing there very stoically and you just wouldn't expect it.
If it's any consolation, I never left those experiences being like, my sister doesn't support me.
No, I just think
I never had that feeling.
I think I could have done a better job.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's one of those things you look back on and you're like, I could have been a better sister. But we weren't that close. We were like, it wasn't a time in my life where I was like, my sister's my best friend.
Yeah.
Now I would say, absolutely, you are my best buddy.
I know that, and whether or not somebody wants to admit this, trauma is a doorway. Almost like this alchemical means to like come to another view of something, or to leave parts or past versions of ourselves behind in order to alchemize to come forth as something else.
So I think that you can't really ever dislike, hate, hold it. Like, if you understand somebody and what they're going through, you can't hate them. You can't dislike them. You have, if you have that understanding of them. And I think when you understand, like, a crisis that somebody's having might not be a crisis to you, but it's a crisis to them. And I think if you put yourself in their shoes, it just broadens your whole persona. Like, it just allows you to evolve, if you will. Like, I'm a very, very different person than I was 7 years ago.
Totally.
8 years ago, 10 years ago. And some of it's good and some of it is neutral. And maybe some of it's bad. But I see the world very different than I did 7 years ago. It's a much darker place than I thought it was. Which, if you're a first responder, you probably understand that as well. That it's not as sunshine and rainbows. There is that. But we don't see enough of that. We see more of the darkness.
So then how do you get enough of that?
The light? Yeah, I mean, it's spending time with family and friends and your little nuggets and Mom Casey's little girls. And, like, it's making sure that there is joy in your life. So you're not consumed with darkness. I am not really a drinker. I don't really, like, have...
Like, use substances for...
Yeah, I'm not a big substance person. I never have been. I probably never will be.
I am.
And that's okay. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that.
I was, I'll say.
And if you do use any substance, just make sure you're not operating a vehicle when you do that, or you're not putting anyone's life in danger, or you're not supervising children, or if you choose to use that as an outlet, try to make sure you're doing it as safe as you can. So you're not putting anyone else at risk. But I've never, like, been a big, like, I need a glass of wine, I need a beer.
Yeah.
I'm just not... This is not what I like.
You know, it's interesting because something's like reverberating in my head when you said, I use physical pain to process emotional pain. For me, it was, I use substances to dissociate from pain.
Yeah, and I think that's a common coping mechanism when you don't want to deal with trauma, is you just find something else to either numb it or make it feel different. I would prefer to be in physical pain as emotional pain. I think that goes back to feeling so deeply that, like, emotional pain literally hurts me.
Yeah.
Like, it physically hurts my body. So why not turn it into a different type of physical pain? I'd rather my lungs be burning and my legs be burning hiking up a mountain than feeling the heaviness of emotional pain. So I try to change it. I mean, it doesn't work. Like, let's be very clear. Like, it doesn't work.
You know, it's interesting. When I asked you how it manifests in your system, how trauma manifests, you didn't know.
Yeah, I guess I haven't really thought about it.
But you do know from what you just said.
It manifests as emotional pain?
Yeah, like of a heaviness, of a feeling, like it's like a sensation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess
I just find that interesting.
I'm, like, really not, and Danielle is my acupuncturist. She can't tell you that, but I can tell you that. And she'll, if you're any of her clients, if you've ever experienced her work, she will ask you, like, how does that feel in your body? Like, did this help? Did this diminish your pain? What's your pain feel like? I'm really bad at answering those questions. You'll be like, I'll put a needle in. You'll be like, how's your shoulder feel? And I'm like, the same. And then she'll move it and she'll be like, any better, worse? And I'm like, I cannot. I have this, like, inability to be like, yeah, that's good. That feels better. Or you're like, what does it feel like? I'm like, it hurts.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not good at that. So maybe
I don't think it's a matter of being good or bad at that. I think it's like a comfort in your system to be with yourself, to feel those significant changes. Because there have been times when you're like, oh my God, like that went away.
Yeah.
That pain or that whatever.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? It's not like a all or nothing.
Yeah, but I'm not, and I'm sure there's more work to do to connect with my body. I think that is something that I still am working on. And like, what does that feel like? Instead of just saying that hurts, knowing what the sensation is and what the feeling is. But I mean, I think everybody's on a little bit of a journey.
Absolutely. Me too. I want you to tell me some of your favorite childhood memories of the two of us. Because I have a couple.
I really loved playing badminton with you.
Into
like epic badminton. We did some really awesome sledding. We did sledding at my aunt and uncle's house. and there was this big hill, and it was like tubes, and it was all the cousins. It was like 15 of us, tubes just hanging on for dear life, and Danielle got knocked unconscious.
Your like favorite childhood memory when you got knocked on.
No, that's not what I mean. I mean,
No,
like
I'm
the
kidding.
tubing was fun, but she
No, when you do a chain of 20 people and I'm like one of the last ones,
you
the
probably
force.
weighed 80 pounds at the time, and she just got launched. And
I
it was
slammed into a fence.
yeah,
My head slammed
that was
into a
before
fence.
like helmets were like required
Yeah.
for tubing.
Yeah.
Badminton was fun.
There was like funny times where we would try on mom's old dresses from the 80s.
Oh my gosh, the green one with the
The
shoulder
green
pads.
one, yeah.
You had the
And
red
then
one.
and then I think one of the funniest like moments was when we used to play around where like I would catch you, you would catch me.
God.
And then one time I said, "You catch me, right?" And she said, "Right. You catch me, right?" And I
Right.
said, "Right." And we both jumped at the same time and landed on our asses.
Oh my god.
Like hard.
Like hard. Like you full jumped. Like you're like 4 feet off the air because we both jumped as high as we could.
There
Just
was
went
a moment
straight
when
down.
I looked over and saw, oh shit, she jumped too.
Yeah.
This is gonna hurt.
Yeah, no, it was fun. I mean, I feel like we grew up in the 90s, so we had like a skip it that would, take our shins out, and my dad would bring home big boxes, and we'd play in the boxes, and Casey would want to throw Beanie Babies at each other. I don't know why, that was like his
I know.
thing. I played baseball with him.
Skiing and boarding.
Yeah,
Remember?
did a
We
lot of-
would like
you'd have the
switch.
snowblades.
Yeah, but we would go to the top of the mountain and switch where I would take your board and you would take my
I
skis.
don't remember that.
Really?
No, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Did I crash? Because I'm not a good
We
skier.
both crashed. I was a goofy foot and you were a regular and I would just take your board.
I don't remember that.
Catch a million
Blacked
edges.
it out. Danielle is very flexible, so her falls were very graceful.
No.
We went to Beartown a lot. Dad took us to Titus, and I think Dad really wanted us to be good skiers. I like the skiing and the snowboarding. I'm not a big fan of being cold,
Yeah.
and I get cold relatively easy. So, yeah, those were very pleasant memories.
I was telling Brian about the time that Casey, I feel like, was really like, he would haze us at times. And I have this one memory of him and I going to the top of Whiteface and him being like, no, there's intermediate, like, trails up there. Like, you're going to be fine. I'll make sure to put us on intermediate trails. He takes us down Cloudspin, which was a triple black diamond.
I went down my butt the whole way.
With moguls.
Yeah.
And he's on his board and he's like, doo, 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 like going
Yeah.
down the moguls.
Yeah.
I was so pissed because at one point I was going straight like down the
I
moguls.
literally slid
I
down
was
on my butt.
so pissed off at him, but he thought it was the funniest thing
Yeah.
he'd ever seen in his whole entire life.
So our brother really wanted a brother.
Yes.
And so I kind of filled this like dual role of being like his brother, but also like, his sister.
yeah.
So he would make, not would say make me, but he would play baseball and we would golf and we would like, he wanted to do boy stuff. I would always want to build forts and play in the dirt with him and like do all of those things. But he would definitely, like, the guy had twin sisters, married a woman that only had sisters. He's got 4 daughters. He's got like, like
he really wanted that.
he really wanted
That boy.
the boy energy.
Yeah.
He's super happy with his girls. But I was basically like, people used to think he and I were the twins. I also cut my hair really short when I was a kid. My mom was
Oh my God, the
just like,
racing
my
stripes
mom was
with
like,
the...
she's like, you can wear your hair however you want. I'm like, a 5-year-old probably shouldn't be deciding how to wear their hair, which is
Insert
fine.
pictures here. No,
Right, yeah, no, oh yeah, like the shaved head, the lines. I almost fully shaved my head at one point.
God.
I just wanted to be a boy. Like, I
know.
think it was the people-pleasing aspect. Like, I wanted to be what he wanted me to be.
Yeah.
And I think that has kind of been a theme. Is
of
like,
you being what other people want
Yeah.
you to be.
and I think it just recently, in the last many years, is when I've been like, no, I'm gonna be me.
Yeah, you're like, what do I want to be?
For a long time, it was like, I can be whatever you need me to be.
Yeah.
I'll be your tomboy brother, whatever.
Yeah.
And like he definitely had me doing some wild stuff because he's just like, yeah, no, it's fine. Like,
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
just-
Oh,
it's-
yeah.
it's gonna be fine.
Yep.
You just play. You know what my favorite? It wasn't my favorite, but my favorite one of my memories to think of is he used to like bamboozle me into watching him play video games.
Oh, yeah.
So I didn't get
remember.
to play them.
No, he wouldn't let you play them.
You had to watch him play. He actually did that to his current wife. Like she used to have to go watch him. I'm pretty sure. I think that was part of the dating was, oh, come watch me play Halo.
Interesting,
Yeah.
right?
That was back when instead of like system linking on the internet, you like connected all of the.
Isn't it funny how
physically.
you think about the past? Like there'd be Halo parties.
Yeah, it was like the TVs were set up in the garage and there's 4 boxes and they had to physically be connected to each other. And it was like, I actually got pretty good at those video games. He had me playing ping pong a lot. Like he just wanted a brother. So here I am. And people used to think we were twins. And we did have great haircuts. I mean, you also had some really great straight across bangs with like the bowl cut. Those pictures.
I've thought about rocking bangs again. I'm like, nah,
probably not.
Probably not.
I mean, do you like live you? But also probably not. Yeah, maybe. Your hair is styled very nice. I always like the natural hair. I know once in a while you change it up and do like strawberry blonde or pink or something. I really like the natural.
Yeah, I feel like it's just like a part of me.
Yeah. I think that's
it's
beautiful.
just fun sometimes to express yourself in different ways.
But I think also for a while, I don't know if you liked being a redhead. I feel like people teased you.
Being a redhead wasn't really cool for a long time. Fire bush, fire crotch. Like people were like rude, mean. Freckles were like not pretty. And I would try to cover up my freckles. I'd look like a clown. It was like weird. Yeah. Even to this day, I don't like full coverage makeup because when it covers my freckles, I just look so odd. Yeah. But then it's funny now because like there's freckle pens and there's like all these women who want to be redheads and not that it matters what they want or making it cool or whatever, but I think I kind of like resonate more with that part of myself. Yeah. And I think it's kind of badass now.
And you have like a beautiful redhead daughter and like she can embrace all of that and feel like, hey, my mom's got red hair too.
Yeah. And our hair is like the same exact color. It's actually fascinating.
It's crazy. Genetics are really wild.
You know what's funny? I heard her at Casey's gathering talking to somebody and she goes, somebody asked her about her hair and she goes, yeah, I got the color from my mom and the curls from my dad. And I was like,
that's accurate.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but one of my hugest pet peeves is like people love to touch curly hair. Yeah. But like they don't know how to touch it. You know, normally
don't touch it.
Yeah.
It's like
but if you're going to touch it, you would normally come from the bottom and pull up like you're going to scrunch it. People want to rake their hands through her hair.
I would be if someday
terrible.
I have children and strangers want to touch my children.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
We're not doing that. I on occasion will like my nieces, oh, look at your hair, I'll touch it.
So you have done a lot of training in your work to be tactful, and you also have your master's degree in communications, and you used to teach public speaking. Can you teach us something? I hate public speaking.
But you're good at it.
I know, but I think it has to do with like being seen. Like, how do you coach somebody to be like good at public speaking?
Maybe that's why I like it so much because like
you're seen.
I felt invisible for so long.
You're so good at public speaking.
Well, thank you. I think that I actually I was at for work. I was at an event and I had to do like a little quick, rundown of some information. And after someone was like, "Oh, I enjoyed that," and I said, "Oh, great." That's great. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And it had come up. Someone else had said, oh, that's because you were a public speaking teacher. And they're like, well, what's your biggest pet peeve? And I said, let me get my pen. I got a list.
Oh, I know one of them. You don't like it if you're giving emotional speeches that you cry. Or if you do cry, you should not have it be about your crying, right?
Like, I think, so that actually wasn't even on the list, but yes, if you are... If you
add that to the list.
Add it to the list. If you know the intensity of what you're going to talk about is going to cause you to cry or get emotional, you got to be able to rein it back in because no one wants to go to a speech where you're like, and you can't get words out. Like it takes away from the presentation. So emotion's a great thing, but you have to harness it. Yeah. And if you know it's going to, like eulogies where somebody is just sobbing through the eulogy.
It's hard to watch.
It is. It's like a train wreck. You can't really like look away, but you're like, yeah. So what can I teach very briefly? Pauses are okay.
Yeah. Good even.
Right. But they feel not good.
Right.
So there's two types of pauses. There's vocalized pausing, and then there's non-vocalized pausing.
You want the non.
Silence. That's what you want.
Yeah.
And it feels like an eternity, but it's not. So pausing is really important. There's this style of speaking. It's called extemporaneous. I can't spell it, but Google can. Extemporaneous speaking is like knowing the information so well that you can say it a couple of different ways. So in this little, presentation I did at work, I had to do it 3 days in a row. And it was like the same information, but it was a little different every time. And that's like comes from knowing the material that you're going to speak on and being able to deliver it in a way that is conversational, that flows, that's light. So try to remove those vocalized pauses. If you use a visual aid, don't stand there and read. It's death by PowerPoint. It is horrendous to watch.
And your listeners are just reading it with you.
Sure. If you have an aid and you want them to read it, put it on the screen, let them read it, and then hit the button on the little clicker that says blank screen. So that's gone. So then eyes back on the speaker, because you really don't need any of that distraction. So the vocalized pausing, non-vocalized pausing, proper use of visual aids, and then you have to be comfortable with it. Some people get so nervous, and then you see it. Like when I started public speaking, I got so nervous and so red. I would wear turtlenecks because the rash would start on my neck and climb my face. And then I couldn't, I just felt like everyone was looking at my redness. So the turtleneck bought me 4 or 5 minutes before the rash made it up to my face. It sounds really stupid, but I did that for years. And I was on the debate team and you know.
So even you would get nervous to speak?
Super nervous. And I think nerves are a good thing. Nerves are a good thing with a lot of stuff. So some people are like, oh, I get really scared going to this X, Y, and Z first responder call. I'm like, that's good. You should feel nervous. You should feel nervous.
Yeah, if you don't feel nervous, that's a little whoa,
nerves
red flag.
Give you the, they make you pay attention and prepare. So the less nervous you feel directly correlates to how much preparation you do. So when you're going into an unknown situation where you have no idea what's coming and you're fearful of what it's going to be, that is going to make it so you are paying attention and you're like, okay, this is what I need to do to stay safe. This is what I need to do.
It's like fight or flight.
Sure, but in a way you can control it. So I love being in front of crowds and giving speeches. But if you gave me a topic and I didn't know anything about it, I would be really nervous because you don't have any expertise on it. If you're like, okay, today we're going to talk about quantum mechanics or organic chemistry, I'd be like, that's not what I know. So I think preparation, pausing is a really important one, proper use of visual aids, and then just be enthusiastic, about what you're talking about. So if you really love Matchbox cars and you're going to give a presentation about how cool they are and the tracks they ride on or whatever, pick a subject, the enthusiasm directly correlates. I have taught different courses over the years and the enthusiasm really matters. You might talk about something boring like flare patterns, for example. That can be not so exciting, but flare patterns are important. You don't want to steer traffic into an accident scene or a crash scene or whatever. But if you're enthusiastic about it, you'd be like, yeah.
What's interesting about giving speeches, too, is your people don't know what you know. That's what I always have to remember when I'm giving a speech is but they don't know what it is that you're going to say. So it's expectation is probably lower than what you think as the speaker.
And the credibility part, building credibility, okay, here's all of my accolades. Here's the list of everything as to why I'm qualified to speak. That
doesn't
they don't
correlate.
Necessarily need to know that, but if you sound like you're bumbling and you can't get your words out, that's going to hurt your credibility. You could have a PhD, a master's degree, you could have 30 years of experience, but if you're stumbling over your words and you're reading from a PowerPoint presentation, your credibility is automatically toast.
Yeah.
So I think those are the things to work on. And if you are scared of giving speeches, do it in front of a mirror, do it in front of the dog. Practice. I've spent thousands of hours practicing and delivering speeches. If you have an issue moving your feet, I would tell people, get a big piece of paper, stand on it, stand on the paper and try not to rip the paper as you're giving your speech, because then you're going to know how much movement you have. If you have an issue where you're just gesturing, sit on your hands. Gestures are good. They can be
distracting.
Sure, but they can also be really powerful in how you use your hands. But you have somebody watch you that gives you honest feedback and then take that feedback seriously, or record yourself. Like we're
When
doing right now.
when I gave the speech at the Evening of Healing, which was probably the most recent speech that I did.
It was years ago.
It was years ago, but
Yeah.
I was like practicing in my head, which is interesting. I wasn't practicing out loud, but I didn't go into that speech with like prepared like bullet points or like anything. I guess I had this moment of like, I know what I'm going to say. Like, I know what I'm going to talk about. And I remember there being a moment where right at the beginning of the speech, it was the opening line that I said, and I could feel this like almost like a...
I feel like nobody knew if you were like starting. That's why. Like nobody knew that was like you were being serious. Like that was the opening line.
I know, but it was like it, and then it went...
For you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the audience, I think there was a lot of like confusion and like, what is she talking about? Like... But I think that it got really like deep and powerful very quickly, and I think you are a great public speaker. I think you do a really good job at that.
It's so uncomfortable.
I love it. I love it. The bigger the crowd, the better.
Really? What's the biggest crowd you've ever spoke in front of?
Probably like 300.
300.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I was really into it. I mean, I've also done some really dumb stuff speaking. Like one time I was in front of a group of students and I was teaching, it was like brand new. I was doing Com 101 and I used to wear high heels to class, and I was like dressed up and I was wearing, I think, pants and a shirt. And I was sitting on a stool, on like a wooden stool, like a circular wooden stool with like the rungs across, and I had hooked my heels on the stool.
I know where this is going.
And I was like, the kids were like doing something, like, okay, like wrap it up, whatever. And I went to stand up and I pushed myself off the desk and my heels didn't unlock off this. And I just went straight down from my seated position where I'm like, oh my God, I'm a professor, to the ground hard. And I fell so hard on my face. So I like rolled onto my back now. Yeah. And the kids are silent. And I was like laughing so hard because it was like laughing or crying. And it hurt. Like I felt like it was like our jump, right? Ooh, jump. And so I got up and it was like, you could leave the room and you could, class is over for the day. But I just kept going. And you know, I've done that before. I've had some ums and some
But
uhs.
I also think that makes you like human, where your kids see that and they're like, wow, she just fell on her face.
I guess
and then she kept going.
And your speech is probably not going to be as bad as that. Like I got like a -0 for the day, like -5,000. But, you know, I actually told that story in all of my future classes.
Oh, yeah.
And that was my story speech that I was giving as an example. I'd always try to demo a speech before they were assigned it. And I would tell them that story. And I got really into it. I love telling stories.
I'm into it because I feel storytelling, and I used to know the way that this works in the brain, but I'll just butcher it for a minute. So storytelling actually lights up different parts of our brain, and our brain doesn't know that we're not actually there. Like, we're in it. Like, we become in it with the person telling the story, and it activates something different. So, like, if you're educating us in a story, we assimilate that differently into our system, so like into our brain.
Storytelling for years was the only way information was shared. Like stuff didn't get written down in history for long periods of time. Think about when we started actually printing information in books, and then fast forward to like the internet where we just have information at our fingertips. Storytelling was it. And I don't know why I love telling stories, especially when I can be like funny. Like I enjoy being funny.
Yeah.
I'm not, you don't meet me and think she's funny, but at times I can very much inject humor into stories.
Okay, I'm going to tell you 3 words that I think describe you.
Okay.
And you tell me 3 words that describe me.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
I didn't pre-do this, so I'm just kind of like...
Riffing?
Yeah, I'm riffing.
If you will.
If I will.
Sisterhood riffing.
Yeah. The first one is loyal.
I would agree with that.
Like, hard.
Deeply loyal.
Deeply loyal.
Painfully sometimes.
Painfully to a fault, possibly, but lovingly loyal.
Loyalty.
Yeah.
You feel really strongly about
Even
that.
if you've been wronged, hurt, like mistreated, all the things.
All the things.
Loyal.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so that's my first. Okay. My second is...
Good, this is giving me time to think for you.
Caring.
Okay.
Caring. You deeply care for people, and you deeply feel for people. And maybe that's part of the like the misunderstanding growing up is like you cared for people deeply, but it's like not something that maybe you could articulate.
Also, like teenagers are not super deeply caring.
Right. So you might have felt like a fish out of water type of thing. And smart. Smart. Like, again, smartest person I know, smart, like, just in all ways.
You need to meet more people. If I'm the smartest person, like, we need to introduce you to more people.
No, I still stand by that.
Oh, okay.
Smart, really, really smart. All things math and even science. I don't think that's like your main thing, but like smart.
Okay. So I would, I don't know if I had enough time to think through anything. I could think of like 10 things for you, but I want them to, like, I want to capture your essence.
Oh, ooh.
So, I think that you are wicked. I'm not going to use your word as smart. I'm going to say intelligent. I think you have emotional intelligence. I think you have spiritual intelligence. I think you have mom intelligence, common sense. You have probably more common sense than I have because I'm so literal. I would say that intelligent would be, and these are not in any order.
What do you think is the difference between smart and intelligence?
I just used a bigger word than you because I'm so smart.
Yes.
Intelligence is the big word for smart. Oh God, I'm gonna watch this back and be like, what facial expression was that? Like, D. Intelligent. I would say compassionate. So kind of like caring. Bigger word again. Not that this is a contest. No, you have compassion for people, and you couldn't do your job as well as you do it without compassion. And I think you can take this in however, like, whatever context you want to put, but I would say like light. Like, you are like so easy to get along with. Like, you're light in the sense that you're just kind of like a gentle person. Maybe gentle's the better word for it, but like, you're just a light soul. You're lighthearted.
I actually kind of like the word light because
you're a beautiful soul.
Thank you. I think the reason why I like light is because it feels like a sense word. Because here's the reason why it's hard to explain our senses because we use different parts of the brain. So like when we're talking, it's like frontal cortex, like we're speaking out words. When you're trying to put words to your senses, there's a different way in which we need to like transmute that information to be able to talk it out. Mm-hmm. So I kind of like the word light because it encompasses, I've got stickers from my kid all over me. I keep finding stickers everywhere. I'm like, there's a princess sticker. There's a D sticker. Okay, anyway. But I like the word light because it feels like more expansive in a way to me.
Yeah. I mean, there's other words I could use to describe you're very stylish, but you're eccentric. Like, for example, I know that the folks listening cannot see your socks, but you're wearing light green socks with avocado slices on it, and I'm wearing black New Balance socks that have pink font, and I almost didn't buy them because it's pink, but, it was on sale, and it came with other colors, so I was like, oh, whatever. But that's just, like, you're eccentric. Like, you have this style, this beautiful style that you lean into, and I think that's part of your lightness, is you're like, you're going to be you. You don't really care if anyone has an issue with that.
Sometimes it's real crazy.
Like, Mom said something about you wearing pajamas at a party, and you like looked at her and you're like, these are my clothes. And Mom's like, they look like pajamas. And Danielle's like, whatever. And again, she didn't mean it in a bad way, but didn't. To my mom, it was pajamas.
Right.
So I just think you have this like eccentric style. Like, we probably would never wear the same clothes. This is probably the most color I was like, it's for me when I choose an outfit, it's like, which shade of black
practical
t-shirt am I gonna wear? Because I have like multiple black t-shirts and they're all like a little different shade of black. Like, that's what I like to wear.
Yeah. But like, it's very, very practical, I think. Like, it's like utilitarian. It's like,
that's the clothes that I like. I don't want to be frilly
or stand out necessarily, or have it be loud.
I just want something that's comfortable, that like, sometimes when you sit down and your jeans are tight and you got to unbutton your top button, like, I want my shirt to cover that.
Right.
My top button is undone.
Yeah.
And that's okay that you can unbutton your top button.
I think too, like for me, there's been an evolution of authentic expression.
From me?
in general, for myself, for you. But I think that, like, because my style, I don't think has been the same throughout the years.
Yeah.
But I think I've just almost recently been more like giving myself permission to just let my freak flag fly.
But it's not a freak flag. That's just
no,
who you
but it's
are.
like I'm just saying it kind of like in a way that's like funny. I feel good expressing myself in ways that might be confusing to other people.
Right. And I feel good when I actually used to wear, and this is true, when I want to say it was like 10 or 11, I would wear the same clothes Monday through Friday. I would wear the same outfits, and I would have like a Monday outfit, Tuesday outfit, Wednesday outfit.
Did I know that?
Yeah, because I went to your dance class every Tuesday to pick you up, and I wore like a gray pants with like a gray shirt that had smiley faces on it, and your dance classmates thought that was the only clothes I had because I always wore them on a Tuesday.
But it was like regimented.
Yeah, and it was so much easier. And that might be more of like the neurodivergent stuff. It's just easier for me to have clothes picked. That's why uniforms are great.
I know, I was just going to say.
Wear the same thing.
Uniforms.
Every time. Like I have 3 days off in a week. I'll often wear the exact same outfit for 3 days, as long as the clothes aren't dirty or whatever. Yeah. I'll just wear the same clothes. Like I'll probably wear this tomorrow if I have to go out.
Now, do you feel a level of suppression when it comes to like expressing your authenticity? Like, are you suppressing what you want to wear? Or are you, that's just
care.
that?
I don't have any preference on clothes. Like, I want it to be comfortable, warm if it's winter time, cool if it's summertime, not push too hard on my belly, not be too tight on, like, it's very much utility, and it has nothing to do with style. I am not stylish. I own nice clothes. Like, I can put a dress on. I just would rather be in jeans or stretchy pants or whatever. And at this point in my life, I do not care to put in effort to look a certain way. I just don't. This is what I look like. This is my face. Yeah. I did put mascara on today. I don't know if anyone can see it. But mostly, it's always a bare face. It's just, that bare moisturizer. And I'm okay with that. Yeah. And so is my partner. And he prefers my face without makeup because it looks like my face, And if he preferred it with makeup, that's okay too. But and I think it's important to find people that embrace who you are, and he really truly embraces every bit of who I am. Does he like every part of it? No, but neither do I. But he embraces it, and he is.
I think it's like it's not even possible to have a partner that like loves every piece of you.
Well, they shouldn't, because
it's almost like unrealistic to me sometimes. I think about that.
Yeah, absolutely. But the big stuff is important.
Yeah.
Like who
like
you
values.
Are. Like I feel like he truly sees my heart. Yeah. Like he knows. He knows I would move heaven and earth to take care of him and like make sure he feels loved and cared for. Like he knows that. Yeah. And I think that's one of the things he likes the most, is that he gets that love and care and support.
You've been like that with almost all your partners, though. That same type of feeling of like love and support.
Not that many.
No, I didn't mean it like that, but I'm saying like that sense of loyalty, like no matter what.
Yeah. No, I love very deeply. Yeah. Love. And I have been lucky enough to love a few times in my life. This partnership feels like the deepest love I've ever had.
Yeah. That's nice.
Yeah, it is. It's really nice. And
very healing.
He's a very special guy. Yeah. For sure.
Is he going to listen to this one?
I don't know. I actually asked him if he was going to listen to it.
Are you going to listen to it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to listen to it before you push it out live there might be some parts we got to get rid of. But no, I think he will. I don't know. He listens to all kinds of stuff. He's like, his podcast, he wants to learn about bullets and deer hunting. He's maybe not going to want to listen to us chat for an hour or 3 hours or 15 hours, whatever this podcast ends up being. I hope you guys didn't have any plans for your Wednesday afternoon, because the Dupell twins. It's so funny. I was just at an event at work, and of course I wear a name tag as part of my getup, and this lady comes up to me and she goes, "Are you one of the twins?" And I was like, who's asking? Like, and she was so sweet, but she remembers us from being very little. So it was just funny, because I was like, yes, the twin identity is very large. Like, we were in the twins club.
Yeah,
like, there was legit a club.
Oh, yeah.
You could only be in it. It's the only exclusive club I've ever gotten into. But it was only if you had twins or multiples, and we had, like, I don't know what is in Plattsburgh, like the water, but there's a lot of twins.
Yeah, there is a lot of twins in Plattsburgh. That's really interesting.
They were all identical twins. Like, we were fraternal twins.
No, there were a few other fraternal twins, I think.
Yeah.
But you're right. Like that identity was kind of loud. Do you ever not like being a twin? Do you ever not like sharing your birthday?
I didn't forever. I
Yeah.
was like, it's my sister's birthday today. You know, like I'd always feel like it wasn't my birthday. But I think as I've gotten older, it's like a celebration. And I think about people that don't have a sibling that's their same age, and it's weird to me because like we hit all of our milestones at the same time. Like, remember the driver's test when we went to get our license?
I failed.
And I did
And
not.
you passed.
And Mom was upset about that. She wanted.
I failed to yield the right of way. I failed within the first 20 seconds of the test.
Saw you fail. She pulled. Okay, let's set the scene.
This is your story. This is the storytelling.
Neon.
Dodge neon.
And it was like 96. It was like a little like black little thing, and it was. And I got to practice more, whatever the case was.
It's okay. I don't have any feelings about failing.
So it's stressful. It's really stressful to try to parallel park a Dodge Neon, but also like the test and like we got taken out of school for it, whatever. I go first. I pass. I get in the car. I think it was raining. I think we were standing under an umbrella. And my mom and I are standing there. So she pulls up to the light. The light's green, and there's this big white van coming the opposite way.
See, your memory. I don't remember what vehicle was
Yeah, you probably
driving.
blacked out. It was probably horrific. The guy or gal was probably screaming at you. So
He was screaming at me.
So she gets to the light, puts on our turn signal. We're like, okay, good. And then cuts off the van, just drives directly in front of it, takes the hard left, and Mom goes, she just failed. And I said, no. I said, maybe he didn't see it. Like, maybe he wasn't paying attention. Like, I was trying to
No,
be
he
like,
was screaming at me.
he was like, maybe he missed it. And then, of course, they make you do the whole thing.
Yep. Even
And
though
you're-
I failed within the first,
And
like,
you're like,
20
I'm
seconds.
going to turn this buggy around.
Yeah. But then you got to drive me places.
For like 2 weeks. She passed.
Yeah.
She passed. Danielle's a fine driver. I don't think you've had a lot of issues driving, right? You're
I was rear-ended once, and I've gotten pulled over a handful of times. Let's see.
we got 14 hours. We're 14 hours. Danielle and I are running a filibuster right now on the Senate to try to prevent a bill from passing. That's the new podcast. It's going to be called Filibustering with Mo and Dee. Mo is, by the way, my like childhood nickname, but
Filibustering with
it's a great word. But Mo is only my like. It's funny because my partner refuses to call me Mo,
Why?
which he just doesn't want to.
Brian's never called me Danielle.
Really?
My whole life.
So
It would just be the weirdest
he
thing.
was like Danielle.
Oh, no.
So he's only ever called me Morgan, and
That's
then he
funny.
has like nice like little nicknames, but the Mo part, never. And nobody really calls me Mo besides like dad, mom, close family, close friends. Like dad always says, "Hello, Mo."
Yeah.
Just so very dad.
Very.
But yeah, no, we're filibustering the Senate right now. I think my final thoughts would be that it's taken me a long time to figure out who I am. It is a really long, and I'm still kind of figuring it out, but this is who I am. This is how I am. There's a lot of good there. There's obviously some room for improvement, but I like me. And I like me.
Yeah.
I think I'm a good person, and I have a very kind heart. And I don't know. It's hard to say those things without feeling like it's
No,
not
I think that's
humble
great.
or prideful
Yeah.
in some way. But I live my life to serve others, and I am worthy of love. I am a lovable, kind person, and I like who I am. It's taken me a long time to get there.
What do you think was in the way?
I think the world is really noisy, and it's hard to like tune everybody out sometimes. Like you just listen to what the negative things that other people say about you. It's hard to just not listen to it. Like it's hard because I care a lot about people. So sometimes I care what other people think, and that's hard. I also think that when you're a high achiever, liking yourself, being okay with yourself is like the finish line. And the high achievement is that the finish line's always moving. You're never going to achieve all the things that you want to, and you're never going to cross the finish line, so you're never going to be done. And I think I've crossed the finish line, and I like me.
Yeah.
There's another race at some point, but like
I think a lot
like
of high
me.
achievers focus on the finish line.
Yeah. And I think that it's taken a while to be like, no, I'm okay. Like,
And I'm okay with the journey.
Yeah, like I'm like a good human. Like I think there's a book eminently qualified human being. There's like it's a leadership book, but the whole idea is that you're contributing to society and that you're qualified and that you're, like taking care of the world and you have honor, and
Like these things are your birthright. We forget that we're enough just as we are, and that it's like the no prize.
Yeah. And I think that if you're on a journey of self-loathing, like you gotta think about all of the good, like reflect what makes you you. If you hate what makes you you, like that's such a hard thing. And I used to do that. I used to hate what made me me.
It's just sad.
Right. Like
Feels sad.
I can be obsessive and compulsive about certain things, and I never liked it. And I'm like, that's just me. That's who I am.
Do you see value in those qualities now?
Sometimes I would like to shut it off, but it's just who you are. It's built in. And I think it's okay to like yourself. It's okay to speak kindly about yourself. It's okay to say, no, I'm good at that.
My kids are going nuts downstairs right now.
What is happening? They're overthrowing the government downstairs.
As we're filibustering.
We're trying to prevent this bill from being passed. And God bless you if you are still listening to us.
No, it's good.
Make sure your Urban Dictionary good.
No.
Except you, Mom. Don't do that. Don't do it, Mom.
Well, I'm going to have hours.
18 hours to edit this.
I'm going to have hours of content.
This is actually going to be part 1. There's going to be part 2 next week. Stay tuned. I'll be wearing the same outfit because I didn't want to choose another outfit.
Oh, my God.
No, I think for those people who don't know me, I think this would be really interesting to listen to. For those people who do know me and have known me throughout my life, I think it would be interesting as well, because I think the folks that are listening to your podcast maybe don't know me very well, because there's very few people that know me well.
Yeah.
And it's a really, really short list. So maybe it'll be an interesting listen. I don't know.
Instead of the card, you give them like a QR code with a link to this podcast. No, it's on the card.
The QR code?
Give me a chance with the QR code.
Just give me a chance. We could do like a full season of you and I on this podcast.
We won't.
We will not. For those of you who are like,
save you.
If you're on the elliptical right now, fighting through hour 3, just know that there probably will not be another one of these. But keep that sweat going. You earned it. If you're like baking dinner for the family right now, it's almost over. Baking dinner? Cooking dinner? It's almost over. We promise it's almost over. We just need to bring our advertisers. Who sponsored us? Are we sponsored? Sponsored by Avenue Acupuncture.
Yep.
I do feel really honored to have been a guest on your show. I know that I haven't listened to all the podcasts. I've listened to one. I'm going to listen to this one.
No, you said you like listening to interview style. And
yes.
I didn't do any interviews for the first season.
I like the interview style more than just listening to you talk.
Yeah,
which
it's very interesting. Thank you for being here. We learned a lot about you. We learned a lot about your life and trials and tribulations and, who you are now authentically as yourself. So we are going to wrap it up.
Finally.
No, I think
we did filibuster the Senate.
The riff is riffing. Like
riffing. I haven't eaten in 13 years. I need to have lunch.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us. And we will see you. Not we, me.
We will see you. I'm done.
In the next episode. Bye.
Bye.